Hi everybody, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I'm coming here today to bring you a video of a one-sheet wonder class. I saw it online and just really enjoyed it. A lot of those I don't care for, but this one I really liked, and I'll give you her name because I do want to give her credit in just a minute. I'm making sure that I can see us on my iPad, just so I know if I have us in focus when I am doing my cards. Anyway, I would just like to welcome you to my channel. If you have not subscribed to it, I'd like for you to hit the subscribe button. And also, as you watch the video, you can give me a thumbs up if you really like the video, thumbs down if you don't. But please, if you do that, please give me a comment on what you think I could do better for that video. I would really appreciate that. I am thinking here on what Stampin' Up has going. Of course, we have a couple more weeks of celebration going on. If you don't know what that is, for every $50 you spend in the mini catalog or the annual catalog, you get something free. Now, we have items that if you spend $50, you get something free. If you spend $100, you get a little bit more of a meatier gift for free. So, we did bring out something August 1st. We brought out some stuff that's in our catalog that you can win. It's not just new stuff. It's stuff that's in the annual catalog that maybe you haven't bought yet that you would like to receive. And when I turn my camera down, I'll show you a picture of those. In September 1st, we're going to have 6 new die sets that's going to come out to match some of the stamp sets that's in our annual catalog that do not have dies with them yet. And this will give you a chance to get the dies if you have those stamp sets or decided you would like them, that you can have. They're in the annual catalog and the mini catalog, but it's just an add-on to those stamp sets. So you might like that. And I want to be able to show you that. If I look tired, I am tired. I had my husband and I had our 50th anniversary party, our wedding anniversary party last night. It was given by our kids. We had a wonderful time. It was great seeing friends and family and just being able to be with everybody that we've loved so much over the years and met, and just different things. It was just a good time, and we enjoyed it. And it's been a long time, you know, just getting over it right now. We spent this week just getting some things, other things done we had to do and stuff, so I didn't get my video done. And I thought today's today. Got home from church, and after eating lunch and everything, I thought I'll do it. Well, I sat down and I fell asleep. So I am back up now, so I'm with you guys, and I hope that you enjoy the cards that I do. We'll actually be making 5 cards. I'll show you how to cut the DSP and the mats for the cards, so it's going to be a little longer video than you usually see me do, so I hope you stick with me. So I am going to turn the camera. If it bothers you to have that motion, just close your eyes for a minute, and we'll get the camera turned, and then I'll show you those products and we'll get started. Seeing my ceiling. There we go with the phone cord in the way. It always gets in the way. Just gotta love the phone cord. And let me just move this over just a hair. Let's see what's in the way. There we go. We'll get in focus. I must have moved my camera stand at some point because it is just in the way. We'll scoot it back. There we go. Probably when I was down here doing some things, I got it all off whack. But here we are. We are now in the area where we can see. It looks blurry to me on my side. I hope it doesn't look blurry to you. Let me check that out. Maybe go down just a little bit. So, there we go. Think we got it. It looks much better there on my... And then it goes blurry again. Let's see what it does. I think it's still blurry. How'd that happen? Let's go up a little bit then. And see if that helps. It gets really nice when I'm moving the camera, which is odd. And then it kind of goes a little crazy. The fun of technology. You know, it just drives me crazy. There we go. We look better now. So let's get started. Here are the cards that we're going to do. But before I show you them, the celebration items that I want to tell you about that's in our catalog are these. We have for the, if you spend $50, we have the 3 embossing folders, which are the Timber 3D, the gingham, the seashells. We also have 2 different kinds of 12 by 12 cardstock, which is brushed metallic. And we have the silver foil. And then we have the craft die boxes. And then we have 4 dies, Flowers of Home, Dots and Spots, Daffodil Dies, and Aspen Trees. So that is the new things they brought out. This is till August 31st. But if you have the celebration catalog with the items that are in there, you can still order, and it's all while supplies last. And I will tell you, these are not in there. I did not see them. I don't think they're back. So they're, most of them say while supplies last. So you'll want to get these sooner than later. As far as the dies I told you about, here's what we have. We've got the apple blossom dies that's in the mini catalog. It's going to have dies to match it. Fresh cut stems is in the annual catalog. The playful piggies are in the annual catalog, as well as the waterfall dies and the tree trimmings. And the Yeti dies are in the mini catalog. So that is the dies that are coming out to match stamp sets, which you will be able to bundle and save 10% on. So today, let's get to our One Sheet Wonder class. Are these cards right here. I did a PDF, which you can get over at my Facebook page, which is Stamp Crazy VIP. I'm going to scoot that over a little bit because I scooted the camera over a little bit. And you can get the directions. And I also have the diagrams. This is cutting 6x6 DSP, what you would cut it. And this is the mats for that. You would cut your paper, and this is wrong here. It should say 6 3/4 by 7, and that's what my directions have on them. This is an old one that I printed. I changed the size here because I was not getting a clean cut across here, which I'll show you that in a little bit. So that size is actually 6 3/4 by 7. But the PDF has the correct measurements on it that I printed off. And the lady's name is, that I got these from, let's go to her name, is Patricia. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Dominici, I think, Dominicci. And if I messed it up, I'm sorry. And it's jumpingintostamping.com is her blog that you can see her diagrams and her cards at. So I did 2 sets. They look a little bit different from each one. Also, here's all of my information with my host code. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. If you would like to join Stampin' Up!, I would also love to be your upline and have you on my team. So you can take a screenshot of that if you want to and have my information as far as email, my Facebook group, and all of that. I'd love for you to join my Facebook group. That way you can get all the files for all of the cards that I do. If you want to reference back to them, it's a great way to do that. So with all of that being said, my camera's tilted. I'm driving myself crazy over this crazy camera. Now I'm going to see what I did. But I am going to show you these cards, and you're going to see my camera tilt a little bit. My iPad's acting up. Everything's acting up tonight. What is it? Might be because it's raining outside. I don't know. But anyway, these are my cards. I hope you can see it. I just turned my, I tried to turn my iPad off. Now I got it back. Let's see if we're good now. Okay, looks better. Maybe it's just my iPad that was messed up. I don't know. Driving myself crazy. Okay, I'm using the same paper pack, which is a Wash and Beauty, which is right here. It's got some really pretty papers with it. The one set to my left is made out of this one right here. And the other set is made out of this one right here. So, and then there's several different pieces of cardstock that you could use, and it's great. There is a piece, this one right here, that all of the dies that you can get with this, that goes with this paper, that you can get. I hope you guys aren't seeing it as blurry as I get. It goes blurry in and out. I don't know what is wrong with, if it's me, if it's YouTube, if it's the weather. I don't know, because it's kind of looking rainy out my way. The stamp set that I'm also using is a True Beauty, which was where I'm getting all of my sentiments, and a couple of stamps that I used on that. And then Organic Beauty are the dies that go with it, and it's got a very neat die. Besides all your dies to match your flowers, you get this like lattice type die too. So it's really, really good. A good set to have. I have enjoyed it, I will say that. So let me show you my two sets of cards that I did. Here's this one. You notice I did them both the exact same. They're just different papers. This one I did a little different. I added one of the die cuts where I cut it out of the paper. And this one is just stamped. So that's a little different. This one's a little different because I used the back side of the paper here, and here I used the same. I didn't flip it, so that's a little different. This one is a little different, as I stamped just in the flowers, what I stamped in here, and that's the only difference in that one. And then this one, I actually used die cuts over here, and I used a stamp right there. So that makes those a little different. So you can do them all different ways. It doesn't really matter. But we are going to be working, we're actually going to be working with this paper tonight. I forgot which one I had cut, which is this one. I'm going to move this out of our way. I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. I'm going to get out my cheat sheet because that's what I need to do, which is this right here. And this is for my DSP, and I'm going to set it off to the side. I'm going to bring my 6x6 piece of DSP out, and I am going to put it in the paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut it across at 3 inches. And then I'm going to take that 3-inch one and cut it this way at 3 inches. And then I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to turn it this way, cut it at 2 inches. And then I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to cut it at 1-inch pieces. So I'm just going to put that in there at 1 inch, cut, and 1 inch, and cut. And there I have, this upper part is all cut out. So let's just take these, and we're going to lay them over here out of the way, stack them up so where I don't lose them all over the place. I'm going to take this piece here, and I'm going to cut it at 4 inches this way. The long part across, I'm going to cut it at 4. And then I'm going to cut 2 at a 1/2 inch. I'm going to do my 1/2 inch ones first, just because I find that easier to do. So I'm going to cut 2 at a 1/2 inch, so there'll be a 1/2 inch by 4. soon as I can get that on there without moving my finger. And then I'm going to cut this one at, will be with 2 1-inch pieces. So we have those cut. Let's put those like this. And then this one's going to be cut in a 2 by 2. And then it'll be a 1 by 2 also. So we have all of those cut. So that's it for our DSP. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in, and like I said, I changed the size here to 6 3/4 by 7. So it'll be 7 down and 6 3/4 across. And I hope I recut that piece of paper. Let me make sure I did. It was my best intentions to. So let's see if we have that at 7, yes. And 6 3/4, yes. Okay, so now we're ready to go on it. So we're going to put this over here, and now we're going to do 1/8" borders around, okay? We will need to do that just so we have a little border around each of our pieces of paper. But on the first thing, it says 3 1/8 here. But you'll notice these are like an 1/8" longer, so it should be cut at 3 1/4. So I'm going to turn, this is my 7-inch side, so I'm going to make sure I got my 7-inch side. See, that's going to be 7. So I'm going to turn that this away. My nose itches. Actually, I want my 7-inch this away. So I'm going to turn that like this, and I'm going to cut that at 3 1/4. So I'm going to come over to 3 1/4 right here and cut. And then I'm going to take, and I'm going to cut this at 3 1/8. And then I'm going to turn it back around and do 3 1/8. But I did that to leave that other piece a little bit longer. So there's my 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. Let's lay this over here. And then this one is going to be 3 1/8, which that should be that way. Three and 1/8. I need to trim that. 3 1/8 by 2 1/8. So we'll go to 2 1/8, and we've got that cut. Now I'm going to take and cut this down to 1 1/8 because I cut it a little bit longer, so I want it at 1 1/8. And then I'm going to cut it at 1 1/8 this way. So hopefully it works out. Since I changed these measurements a little bit, it'll work out for me a little bit better than what it was working out before. And it still did not. Still did not. Still only have a little, so I must have turned my paper wrong. So I'm just going to bring in another piece and cut it 1 1/8 by 1 1/8. It actually does work if you add the measurements up. It is my cutting. Every time I cut that side, I cut it wrong. And it's just a mental note for me, but I'm going to show you guys that we all make mistakes. It's okay. We carry on, right? That's what we have to do. So I have my next piece, and I'm hoping that I didn't mess up and cut the whole piece wrong. Because if I did, I'm in big trouble. So I'm going to cut this at 4 1/8. Then I'm going to cut 2 of them at 5/8. So we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 right there. I always count my eighths off sometimes. So that will be for my 1/2 inch. So we're going to go 5/8. It's 4/8, that's 5/8. And then we will cut these at 1 1/8. Whoops, do you see that? I do better if I get my fingers out of the way. And let me see if this one is 1 1/8. It is. So we got those cut. Now this one will be 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. So let's see if this is 2 1/8. Okay, we're going to cut it 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. And this one will be 1 1/8 by 2 1/8. So let's see how we have this, 1 1/8. By 2 1/8. And there's all of our pieces cut, and there's some of our little leftovers. So all of that is cut. We hope we don't have to do any trimming. But if we do, that's okay too. We can trim. It's all good. So now what I'm going to do is bring out my mats with my pieces of cardstock. I know this one is going to be on here. This one is going to be on this one. And since I've done some of these, I kind of know what I want to do. The 3 little ones right here are all here. So that is those. This one is going to go backwards on the other side to that. And this one will go to this. And then we will have this on here. We will have one of these backwards. I call it backwards. And it'll go there. And we'll have this one to that one. And then this one I'm going to do up here to this one. So there's how we have our cards. That's how we're going to be doing them. Got them set out, which is a little bit easier for me because my camera has gone my iPad's freezing. I hope that's not freezing on the camera. I'm going to have to really check this out before it's posted. So now what I want to do, and what you need is you need 5 cards cut 5.5 by 8.5, and then scored and scored at 4 1/4, fold in half, and I already did 5 1/4 by 4 pieces of white, the basic white, and put inside. I think each of my cards should have one of these already because I already cut them. Okay, and then we actually need 10 pieces of 5 1/4 by 4 because that's what you're going to do in cards. I should have 5 left here. I actually have 6 because I knew I had cut some extras. You never know when you're going to make a mistake, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this. We're just going to start our cards. This part, really, once you get going, doesn't take too long. So I'm just going to add some glue. put that down. And before I put that on, I took some of the, let me get it, it's just the white seam binding ribbon. And I took my Stampin' Blends in the light mossy meadow, and I went ahead and colored it because I wanted a green ribbon. So I'm just going to turn this over. I'm going to take a little bit of my adhesive and put there, and just bring my ribbon over to that, and then I'm going to cut it. This way I'm not wasting a lot of ribbon. Hopefully I'm not wasting a lot of ribbon. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece and I'm going to cut it about so long. And it's about 9 inches long, give or take. And I'm going to tie my bow. Now when I tie my bow on my cards like this, I turn it upside down. And I tie it like I'm tying my shoe. And if I do that, then my tails are at the other end, usually. I'm not going to say that happens all the time. I've been tying bows for 20-something years, and I still hate to tie bows on cards, but I still do it, so it's okay. And this little seam binding ribbon is so hard to hold on to that it's just a mess with big fingers. Come on, come on, come on. I always have a hard time. I have too big of fingers, and I know people use tweezers and all different kinds of methods, and I've tried them all, and I don't like them. But the seam binding ribbon is about the one that gives me the most trouble. And I know you guys like to see people struggle, so, because then it makes life really real, right? 3rd time's a charm, 4th time, 5th time. Why can't I get a hold of that piece of ribbon? It keeps sliding out. It's so slick. I might have to get tweezers out. My video is not turning out tonight, but I'm going to leave it this way as long as it's not real blurry, because this is real life. We are doing a real life video. We're not editing out so you don't have to see and think that, oh, Rita never makes a mistake. Rita makes mistakes all the time in her stamping. And that's okay, because if anybody tells you they don't, I hate to tell you, I don't think they're being very truthful with you, and that's not nice. So I like to be truthful and tell you that, hey, this is my card and this is how I do it. So if something's not perfect, it's okay, because we are not meant to be perfect. We weren't created to be perfect. So why should we be perfect in our stamping? So there we go. We have our little bow. So what I'm going to do is bring this in. I'm going to bring me in some dimensionals. Let me get some of the bigger ones right here. We'll just put 4 of those on. We got the situation covered. Got that crazy bow made. I could have made it and then just added it on with a glue dot, but I don't like to do that when I put the ribbon across. I want it to look like it's tied on. So now we're going to just add this to our front. And once we do that, we're going to bring a stamp in. I'm going to be using the Memento Black, and I'm going to put Just Because right there. So we'll ink it up. And I hope I'm in the camera good for you to see. And then we'll just stamp. Hold it there a minute. There we go. So I'm going to set that to the side, because what we're going to do is we're going to wait till we get all of our cards done, the card fronts, and build on with those. So we have that one done. Now I'm going to move on to this one right here. And I'm going to bring that down to show you, and then stick this over here. So maybe you can see that. I should have did that with the first one so you'd see what in the heck I was doing. But anyway, it's right there. And what we are going to be using, I have right here. So let's take and glue our little pieces together. So I'm just going to glue down this right here. Stick it on my, and I'm using Mary Merlot as my cardstock, or yeah, my cardstock. So now we'll just put our 3, and I'm actually going to go ahead and put some glue on there, and we'll glue all 3 pieces real quick. Because while we're gluing, everything's fine. Then we'll sit them straight up so I can see which ones I want where. You can do this with any kind of DSP. You can get really elaborate with it if you want to. You can leave it, you know, more plain like I've done. I want my DSP to be my focal point, so I let that do all of the work, and then just add a sentiment to it, and that works fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this one on. We're going to glue this. And therefore, I keep freezing up. I hope I am not freezing up on where you guys are at, and I'm hoping you can see everything I'm doing, because this is not cooperating with me whatsoever. I have to keep switching it up so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's put this down. And then what I'm going to do, here's how I'm going to display these. I'm going to put the green in the middle since I have berries there. But I'm going to put a dimensional on each one of them. And I'm just going to go ahead and add my outer ones first. I want the top and the bottom, leaving a little bit of space at the bottom. Leave a little border here, so I'm going to take and leave a little bit of border here. And then I'm going to put in my middle one. And it should go right in here. So there we go with theirs. Now what I'm going to do on here is I did stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and do that again. I'm going to bring in the leaf stamp. I'm going to bring in the Mossy Meadow stamp pad, and I am going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp off just one time with that. And then I'm going to add that to my card right here. And with that being done, I have, and she's hidden right here, I have one of the die cuts cut out. So I'm also going to add a couple of dimensionals to it, and we're going to add that to our card. So I'm just going to lay that right there. And then I'm going to add the saying, "You are a true friend." But when I add this, I'm not going to add that across that stem this time, I don't think. It's not going to be my intention. I think I'm going to add it right here between those. It says, "You are a true friend." So that one we'll add to a card base here in a few minutes. Let's go in and move to the next card. And that one, we're going to go ahead and do this one. And it's right here. So I'm going to add my big piece with the floral print showing. And then this with the back side of that paper. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here, I added the ribbon all the way around, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it and add a bow. Because I thought it looked just as nice with the bow as wrapping it around. So I will, again, use dimensionals. I like using dimensionals just to give the card a little bit more depth than what just gluing everything flat would be. So, you know, I think we've gotten so used to using die cuts and just making everything be a little bit more 3D, that when we don't do that, we don't think it looks right. At least me. I like the dimensional look. So I'm going to bring my ribbon back over, and I'm going to just tie a bow this time. So I'm just going to tie me a bow. And then I'll just work my way down to the size I want it. Cut my little tails. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small dimensional and put to the back of that. And I'm going to cut off this little piece that's showing right here. And throw that away. Take this off, and I'm going to add this to my card right here where they come together. And I'm just going to put that down there, and I let that dimensional do that because it's on uneven paper, with that being flat and stuff. So, that way I have that sticking up just a little bit, not much. And then I'm just going to add the saying, just because. I would leave my ink open, but as soon as I'd leave my ink open, that would be a hot mess. So I think I'm going to have to move my bow over a minute before I do that. That's going to be a hard thing to do, but there we go. So there we go with that. Oops, better put this over here. We have that done. Okay, now let's move on to the next card. I don't think I'll need my scissors now that I've got those out of the way. We'll do this card next, since it's just laying here. So what I did with, oh, wrong card. It's this one. This one, this one, this one. So you make 5 cards. Once you get everything cut, it goes pretty fast. And the more you cut, the easier it gets, except for if you're me. And I keep cutting that one piece just a little bit short. I don't know how I get that. No matter how big I cut my paper, it does the same thing to me. but yet all the mats turn out right. I don't get it. It's me. Okay, now, what I'm going to do here is this is going to be with dimensionals on like this. So I'm going to bring, and I did not bring this blue color in, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this, the flower. This flower, I think I'm going to stamp right here. So we're going to use our green again. We're going to make this one a little bit different. So let me get this green stamped on, and I am definitely going to stamp off again. I like that mossy meadow just a little bit lighter. So I'm going to take and I'm going to stamp that close over here, like so. And I'm going to use the rose that is in that center there, right here. And I'm going to do polished pink, I think. I think I'm going to do a little bit of polished pink. And I think with her, I think I'm still going to stamp off. But before I do that, and this is going to look messy, but I'm going to do this because I don't have a finger dauber in here. But you know, finger daubers, daub your finger. And then just add that in the center, like so. See how this turns out with a real live finger dauber. But I bring in my chamois, clean my finger off so I just don't have any wet ink on it. And we're going to go for the gusto here. I'm going to, oh, that was the wrong color. I didn't want to do that. I'm going to do it over here, but that's going to be okay. I'll do that again. There we go. And then I'm going to bring this in. Don't know which way I want it. I think I want it like this. And I'm just going to stamp. And that will, in itself, turn lighter. It'll all turn lighter. That's one thing about our inks. They do get lighter and lighter. But I have to clean off the ink off of my fingers now. So, oh goodness, there we go. And then I'm going to do Your True Friend on this one. I did just because on that one. That's okay. I'm going to stamp that right there. And what I did is I had the iridescent gems. Well, let's put these on first because then I'll know right where to put my gems. Let's pull all of these off. I'm going to put one big one in there and then two of the smaller, the medium-sized ones. And there we go. So there's that one. Stick that over there out of the way. And then we'll do our last one, which is this one. So I'm going to go ahead and glue our pieces down. I think I'm going to do this one just a little bit different. I am going to, just to see what it looked like, I'm going to put this one over here. And I'm going to put this one over here. Like so. And then I'm going to take this little flower here, and I'm going to do it in the Mary Merlot, but I think I'm going to stamp off with it because I want it a little lighter. See what it looks like stamped off. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to stamp off with it. And I'm just going to stick it right here. And then I'm going to take the Just Because, and I'm going to add it right here. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to bring this in. I'm going to get my ribbon out. See what I did with my Stampin' Blend. I'm going to color just a little bit more of this ribbon. I'm going to make another bow. So, and therefore you just take the end and color a little bit. And there we go. So I color a little bit. I am going to make a little bow. A little bow. Make it just a little bit smaller. And if you noticed, I just glued those instead of using dimensionals. I just glued the pieces down just to show you just a different look. And I'm just going to use actually a glue dot on my bow. And we're going to bring that over here. Let me hide that little glue dot behind my bow since it's kind of thin. And with that, we've got this little flower there. And let's bring in these dimensional, or these gems one more time. And I think what I'm going to do is take the smallest ones, and I'm going to put one on each side of my just because. And maybe put one right there at the top of my bow, at the bottom of the flower. And then that will be that one. Now, all we got to do now is put these on our cards. I usually decorate the inside of my cards. I didn't do that this time because I just cut my paper true to what is made, you know, what it was to make the cards. You could certainly go back and either add some stamped images in there or whatever. You notice we're not going to mat. We're not putting another color behind it. We just used our card as our mat, as well as our card. And then just add our pieces to it. So there's one. Just make sure that you have your fold on the right side when you're gluing your cards. Make sure that they're going to open right so that you don't make any mistakes like that. I've been known to do that because I get myself in a hurry or don't pay attention to what I'm doing, which is usually what the thing is, because I'm very good about not paying attention to what I do. How about you guys? Sometimes you just get preoccupied, especially if you like to watch TV while you're doing this, which I can't do both. And here I forgot I was going to add a dimensional into the center of my flower. I mean, not a dimensional, sorry, but a gem. So I wanted to get that on my flower. I almost forgot that. And there we go with that. Now let's keep moving. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are our 5 cards that we did. I think they look great. I am hoping that my video has stayed together for me. That's why I make it in, I do it in real time because I want, I just don't do I don't do YouTube live videos. I'm not set up for that. So I'm just hoping that you get to see them on here. I don't edit my videos, even though I do that, because I want you to see. I want to be real. If I make a mistake, I want you to see that mistake, because we all make mistakes, and I don't want you to get the idea that we as card makers that are demonstrators and that we don't make mistakes, because we do. We do them all the time, I'm sure. And I'm sure out of all the Stampin' Up! Demonstrators, I'm not talking about just me. So I want you to know that, so I want you to see that. So I hope this video turned out okay for you. If not, I am so sorry, and I may end up having to remake it. So I don't know. But until we meet again, I want you all to have a nice night if you're watching this in the evening, morning, afternoon. Have a nice week, and I will see you soon, I hope. Thank you. Bye.